AEW star Jeff Hardy was arrested last night on multiple charges, including DUI. We'll discuss this breaking news story in today's AEW News. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. I wish we were chatting under better circumstances, frankly. I wish we were discussing some positive AEW news, some exciting AEW news, but unfortunately we're not. We're talking once again about Jeff Hardy and his very, very apparent personal issues that once again have raised their head in the last 24 hours. You can see the mugshot right there. It's because AEW star Jeff Hardy was arrested last night. He was arrested shortly after midnight in Volusia County, Florida. Now, Volusia County jail records show that Hardy was booked into the jail at 12:45 a.m. on several charges. The charges include driving while license cancelled / suspended / revoked, violation of restrictions placed on driver's license, and DUI, alcohol / drugs. Third offense within 10 years. We have seen over the course of the last 2 or 3 years, let alone the past 10, but certainly in the last 2 or 3 years, we have seen multiple Jeff Hardy DUIs. We saw a couple of them whilst he was under contract to WWE. Now, Hardy received a surety cash bond of $3,500, $500 for the license charges, and $2,500 for the DUI. He is still currently incarcerated at the St. S. James Foxman Justice Center in Daytona Beach, Florida. Now, Hardy is scheduled to appear in front of a judge for his first hearing tomorrow, which is June 14 at 1:30 p.m. Now, of course, he's actually scheduled for Dynamite on Wednesday to be part of a ladder match, but the day prior he's going to be before a judge for these multiple charges. Now, the license charges are a second-degree misdemeanors, while the DUI is actually a third-degree felony. Now, it's interesting to note that the arrest date on the court website is listed as 9:55 today, while the jail website has his booking time at 12:45. But we're splitting hairs there. It's been reported that the offense happened last night or Sunday night. As I mentioned, Jeff Hardy is scheduled to compete in the triple threat ladder match with his brother Matt Hardy, the Young Bucks, and AEW World Tag Team Champions Jurassic Express on Wednesday's Road Rager edition, which again, the name is not that great a coincidence now, is it? Of AEW Dynamite near St. Louis. It's just, it's one look. Whenever any instance like this happens, it's tremendously sad. The reason it's sad is because this is clearly a guy that still, after all of these years, has not, unfortunately been able to conquer clearly his personal issues. Every single time it looks like Jeff Hardy might have finally got over that hurdle of the substance abuse issues that he clearly has, something like this happens. And again, it's very sad. I hope he gets the help that he needs. He should not be wrestling on Wednesday. Put another team in the tag team match. Put another partner with Matt Hardy. I don't care what you have to do. Jeff Hardy, coming off of a DUI, his third in the last 10 years. The fact that he's got multiple charges against him now should remove him from programming. And that's not cancel culture or anything like that. That's, let's let this guy go away and get help. He clearly needs it. Now, Jeff Hardy has been to rehab multiple times. The last time he was offered the opportunity to go to rehab, of course, was the instant of when he left WWE. Now, at the time, it would appear that WWE got that situation wrong. They got that situation wrong because he left through the crowd. WWE thought he was off. They suspected him of being under the influence of either drugs or alcohol. Both tests returned negative. He passed his breathalyzer. He passed his urine and blood test at the time. So people just thought it was Jeff Hardy just being bizarre behavior. But it's instances like this. It's instances like this that we have seen over the course of the past decade, and frankly throughout Jeff Hardy's life, that led to WWE coming to that conclusion. And again, there have been all of these reports recently about Jeff Hardy being beaten up and him being hurting with doing some of the matches that he's been doing on Dynamite. And if you need time off or you need to step away, then just do it. Because, and I do have a ton of sympathy for Jeff Hardy. I'm a huge Jeff Hardy fan. Who isn't? But when anyone, and I have to keep the same energy here that I kept with Jimmy Uso when it happened with him in WWE, because it was a similar situation whereby this was a guy that's held multiple DUIs over the course of the last few years, and eventually someone's going to get hurt. And whether that's Jeff Hardy or whether that's someone completely innocent in this situation, someone's going to get hurt, and it's not right. It's not right. It's not right behavior to be setting to other people. It's not right behavior to be setting to yourself. And ultimately, as I mentioned, it's just very, very sad. And it has to stop. And I think also as fans, whilst we have to be respectful, and whilst we also have to, admit and acknowledge this guy clearly still needs help, all of the issues that he has clearly are still not resolved, we as fans also have to hold ourselves responsible of how many more opportunities do we give this guy? And that's not to say to give up on Jeff Hardy, because I don't want to give up on Jeff Hardy. And I don't want to, when someone's down, kick them when they're down or anything like that. But you look at Jeff Hardy's career and his life, how many opportunities has this guy got? How many? Infamously, he turned up in no condition to perform on a major pay-per-view when he was with TNA Wrestling, Victory Road 2011. That should be, a career ender for a lot of people. After that, he came back and he was the world champion. There has been a precedent set for whatever reason when it comes to Jeff Hardy, primarily because he can make money for a lot of people, whether it's tickets, whether it's merchandise, whether it's whatever. He can make a lot of money for some big companies, and because of that, people have been willing to overlook some of the issues that he clearly is still having to this day. And when is enough enough? When do you say it's enough? And just because you have these periods of time between incidences, just because, it's not as bad as it was a decade ago, it's still happening, as I mentioned. He had one right before he had to have surgery. Was it 2018, I believe? He had another one and he went to rehab. And when he came back to WWE, this was during the pandemic in 2020, the story was about him on the path to recovery, on the path of redemption. I'm completely better. I'm fine. And they did the whole angle with Sheamus and throwing the urine in the face and all that kind of stuff on television because of Jeff Hardy's past. Whereas at the time, as I mentioned, this is what was wild. At the time that they were doing that storyline on TV, he was still in court over the previous DUI. He still had legal issues at the time when they were doing this storyline on television. Fast forward 2 years later, it's happened again. And eventually, the law will catch up to you, because, as I mentioned, one of the charges is having 3 DUIs in the past 10 years. And again, when is enough enough? When do we as fans have to say enough is enough? When do AEW have to say, look, we took a risk on you coming in? Because at the time, there was confusion about what your state really was because of how you left WWE. We were reassured by yourself, by Matt Hardy, by other people that you were straight, you were fine. And clearly he isn't. That's a problem. That's a massive, massive problem. And again, I hope Jeff Hardy gets the help that he clearly needs. But as someone that's a fan of him, it's just a very, very sad situation. And I know with some people, in some instances, I don't know as much with AEW, but certainly in WWE, as I mentioned, Jimmy Uso, he was on TV the next week and it was like nothing happened. But I don't see how AEW can ignore this one. I don't. Jeff Hardy left WWE when they gave him the option to go to rehab because at the time, maybe he didn't need it. But now I would argue that he clearly does. Because this is a guy that's got a pattern of doing this in the past, and, clearly he still needs help. So hopefully he gets that help that he deserves. But as I mentioned, it's incredibly sad, and when is enough would be my response to that. So hopefully Jeff Hardy will get the help that clearly he needs.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.